The proper role of government is fundamentally rooted in the protection of life, liberty, and property. This Lockean principle underpins Western philosophy of government and shaped our founders' vision for our republic. But it doesn't take much scrutiny to see that our government, both at the state and federal levels, has abandoned this limited view of their role in our lives. Case in point, the latest iteration of Idaho's state budget. Countless programs receive millions of dollars sourced from your paychecks to support things they never should have been doing in the first place. This is money you could be spending on your own family to make ends meet. On this week's episode of Fiscal Fridays, we decided to list the top 5 most ridiculous spending items from the 2024 legislative session. Number 5 on the list is something you are probably very familiar with on Idaho's roadways. House Bill 770 provided nearly $700,000 in federal funding to replace and improve Idaho's historical markers. Improvements include replacing or adding signs and paving new turnouts. Keep in mind that this is in addition to $1.4 million spent just last year for the same purpose. Idaho is and should be proud of her history and heritage, but spending money on new signs that have nothing to do with things like traffic safety is frivolous, especially when so many Idahoans are struggling to put food on the table and the federal debt is approaching $35 trillion. Number 4 on our list is equally frivolous and financially harmful to Idahoans. The budget for the State Department of Education provided $300,000 in federal money to create a program that teaches school children where their food comes from. The program seems non-controversial, but the total cost of the program will exceed $760,000, all from temporary federal money intended for COVID relief through the American Rescue Plan Act, or ARPA for short. Not only is this not the proper use of pandemic relief funding, but there is a serious cost to future generations of Americans from using this funding. Virtually all the money from ARPA is deficit spending. This added $1.85 trillion in unfunded liabilities that the U.S. will have to either print or borrow to make up at some point in the future. It is unfathomable how much of this could have been saved by axing frivolous programs like these. By taking this money, Idaho is complicit in the damage this will cause. Moving on to number 3 on the list, we see that higher education has its own wastefulness. The budget that funds all 4 of Idaho's community colleges included nearly $1 million to provide free or reduced price college textbooks to students. The program is called the Open Education Initiative and is designed to encourage professors to use open source materials in class. So, how does the government manage to spend $1 million on something that by definition is supposed to be free? Not only is the state paying colleges to create their own open source works, but these materials are in such high demand that they have to pay professors a $2,000 bonus per class to use them. Not only is this anti-free market, but it misses the point. College is expensive not because of greedy textbook companies, but because the government keeps subsidizing it. This program only makes the problem worse by taking another step toward the socialist vision of free college for all. The socialist vision is a cultural movement, and we see it clearly here in number 2 on our list. The Maternal, Infant, and Early Childhood Home Visiting Program, or MICV, is a program designed to coach parents on government-approved parenting practices. It is housed in the Division of Public Health of the Department of Health and Welfare, a division that IFF has exposed for using their power to affect their woke agenda. The MICV program takes in roughly $6 million after this year's $500,000 increase. The program is largely federal funded and uses social-emotional learning, a program used as the basis for diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. In this case, the government is filling a role that is more properly allocated to the church. Number 1 on the list highlights how the government funds inefficiency. The Conservation Reserve Enhancement Program, or CREP, is a federal initiative supported by the state of Idaho to pay farmers not to farm their land. The goal here is to make as much as 100,000 acres of Idaho farmland dormant for the next 15 years. The latest report from the U.S. Department of Agriculture notes that $2.4 million is being paid annually to Idaho farmers for sitting on their land. CREP will have lasting negative effects on our nation's food supply that will extend beyond the duration of the grant, all in the guise of conserving water for other states downstream and returning native greenery to the land. We chose these programs for a reason. No one is talking about them. All these programs went into law unprotested, yet they are all squarely outside the proper role of government and have a damaging effect on our state. As the government continues to grow, more of these programs are created. They take resources directly from you when you get paid, buy groceries, or run a business. So, do you think you could spend money better than the government? If you're curious about whether your lawmaker is rubber stamping all this spending, be sure to check out our 2024 Freedom and Spending Indexes. To request your free paper copy of the index, please visit our website at idahofreedom.org. Thank you for supporting our work.